point.
So I have a question. My name's Marie. I'm from Fort Lauderdale. And I'm kind of I've been listening to everybody. I've been trying to put some of this into my head. And I think what I'd like to ask from everybody in the group, if maybe we could go around. So is there one person that kind of has a list of everybody that's on with us?
Yeah.
Yes, no?
Monica.
Okay. So Monica, if I could ask you to kind of be the moderator on this. I'm curious, in listening to everybody's conversations, and some people still haven't participated, and obviously this is my point. But I'm curious to know, when we all know that the world is going to be a little bit different for a while, maybe forever, maybe for our lifespan. That's still undetermined. But as we're coming out of this new phase that we're in and we're reestablishing our normal, I think it's important that we try not to let history repeat itself.
Yes.
That we take something into the future with us. So my question to you, and if it's putting you on the spot too much, then I apologize and you don't have to answer. But I'd like to know, what's the one thing, because I work in government, so I work with all different types of people from all different types of walks of life, from all different ethnicities. I was born and raised here in South Florida. And I'm curious, what's the most important thing to you as we move forward as a society? And I think the other part of that would be important is for you to state maybe where you're from. So I'll let Monica take that from here.
I'll go with here on the screen. Nikki, can you address that?
What we're from and what we do?
The one.
What's the most important piece to you moving forward?
I'm from Fort Lauderdale. Well, currently in Fort Lauderdale, originally from New York. The most important piece. I think just learning what I can about placemaking and seeing how I could, one, translate into things that I do, but also to translate what I do to be helpful or supportive into what we're coming together to do as a collective.
Okay. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I think it has to be a progressive outcome as opposed to a regressive outcome.
And where are you from?
I'm from Pontiac, Jim Rowe.
Okay.
Nashid, what do you think about that? And where are you from?
I'm from Pontiac, Michigan. Right now I'm in Cairo. What's super important for me is information, you know, and not just for myself, but because what I'm realizing is that a lot of people, they don't know who to trust. They don't know where to get, whether it's information about funding, whether it's information about unemployment, whether it's should I go outside, whether it's health, whether it's whatever it is. I think people just want truth and they want information. So it's important for me to connect with, not just like minds, but just like sources of information and truth. And then how do I absorb that for myself and then share it with as many people that I know, because I know a lot of people that connect as well. So, for me, information is important.
Okay.
And Katha?
Well, I'm not sure if I understand what she's saying. What is important for us in terms of our own personal,
what's important to you?
or how we perceive placemaking.
No, my question is, My question is, what is important to you as we move forward? As it relates to placemaking, yes. But
And
what is the most important piece of this to you that you think carries the most weight?
That I think carries the most weight.
It could be food distribution, it could be information, it could be building equity within the community,
Mm-hmm.
it could be access to recreational space.
Yeah. You know, I'm not sure. I think to me it's being useful and being able to listen and to understand what the signals are that are coming from the community, from the needs of the people around us, you know, that we're listening carefully. And I think, you know, if we listen, we will understand what we need to do, but we need to listen. And we don't really know how this thing is going to work its way out. So, you know, whether we say it's going to be 2021, 2022, you know, I think that's a little premature. But I think that we are going to see some new normals. And I think right now it's very important for us to listen to each other and to try to understand how to go forward. So we need to listen to God. We need to listen to each other so that we understand how to move forward. Because I think all of us, maybe not all of us, but me, are taking it a day at a time to, you know, be as helpful and to be, you know, as active as I can be under the current situations. But I think the most important thing for me is to listen and to be able to understand what we need and how I can play into what we need to go forward. I'm focused mainly on around parks and public spaces, because that's that's kind of just where my interest would be in terms of placemaking. A lot of the things that you guys have talked about, I'm working on those as well. But in terms of public spaces and placemaking, when I think of placemaking, I'm really thinking in terms of our public parks here in Pontiac. And, you know, what the needs are going to be for that going forward, you know, given the social interaction and the things, just the considerations that we have facing us. Yeah, you know, but I think we can move forward if we listen to each other and we listen to God. So those would be my two. Those are the two things that I think are most important going forward.
Okay. Anyone else? I don't want to derail your conversation too much, Monica.
No, this is great. Corinna?
Hello. Hi. Well, I live in Little Havana, and I moved there from DC, and I grew up in Massachusetts. So I never know how to answer that question, where are you from? But I'm an educator. I use, you know, my walking tours as part of the way that I educate, but my commitment moving forward is very much around racial equity. And I care very much about the environment and sustainability and resilience. But I think that if you look historically, a lot of the damage that has been done to the environment can be connected to racial inequity. It's connected. And if you also look back historically and you see what's happened after epidemics, you understand that the racism now being directed towards Asian folks is nothing new. those ideas were historic. And so I think this is a vital, vital time for us to think about equity. And I'm fully committed in all my work to make that my number one priority.
Okay.
Let's see, who do we
miss?
If you want to chime in at any point, anyone, let's
Michael's still there?
Scott.
Hi, yeah, and I'd love to hear from Miss Peaches. Marie?
There's another Marie.
Well, my piece also lies in the realm of racial equity. Being born and raised here, I've seen more than my fair share of it, and I don't think anything that we do as a culture survives when you have racial inequities. I think it transcends everything that we do, every product that we produce, every consumable that we bring to market. At least that's how I view, that's what I see through my lens. And I don't see I see us going down a path coming out of this that if we repeat history, we're doomed.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that through placemaking efforts and through initiatives and really through, it's probably going to take another type of movement. I'm not sure exactly how to define that. I'm reading a couple books on it now, trying to wrap my head around it. But I do believe that we're at a nexus in how we, as a culture and as a society, on how we move forward with it. And for me, that is my main focus on how do we come out of this pandemic and move forward. And I see a very strong opportunity here locally to not repeat the same errors and find a way to collaborate more and to be inclusive and to just move forward in a more humane way. If that makes any sense. It does to me. So.
Yeah, a lot. How about you have a Marie in my screen? There's another Marie sitting next to you.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to hear from both of you, so this is great.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm Marie, or Miss Peaches, and I'm originally from Fort Lauderdale, Six Trunk area, and I'm now living in
Yeah.
I'm in Colorado now, but personally, I agree with a lot of the ideas and things that have been said, but I believe that our voices are going to make a big difference moving on, because and our transparency, and not only that, the examples we set as well for the communities that we serve. The reason why I would say the reason why a lot of people are not in tune or involved with a lot of the things that's going on, such as there should be a whole lot of people when it comes to placemaking and progressive moves and the movements and grassroots, is because overall they just don't really, they're not really educated. And right now with this pandemic, you hear so many different stories and reasons why this is happening. People are sending so much stuff to your messenger on Facebook about this story and that story, and people are just believing whatever they want to hear. No one is really, going to research and get the facts. It's like we live in this world. If you say it, that's what it is, and if you do that, then I guess it'll be done. But when it comes to the communities that we serve, even here in Colorado, is very progressive. Folks here, it's like collaboration is key here, because they want to make sure that no one is left out. They want to make sure that everybody gets a chance at the same information. And when we're not transparent and we don't speak up about the different movements and things that are going on, people they become lost. And what I mean by lost is they become that type of person that will just spit information out to the rest of the gang, and the rest of the gang, everybody has the same idea about this particular issue, and those are not even the facts. So I think transparency, using our voices a little bit more, and then exampleship, teaching our youth how to be more progressive as well, because right now with what's going on, our children are being, and even before this pandemic, our children are the ones who are suffering most, because they're coming up in families, especially in low poverty and stricken communities. They're coming up in families where the parents are not necessarily educated. So being that they're not educated, they don't know how to teach their children. So the children are going to go out and they're going to trust the information they're getting from the teacher, from the mentor, from the counselor, from the police. They got all this information going in. So now what do we do with it? So I think moving forward, we just need to be more transparent, not just in our homes, but definitely in our communities and with each other, so that we can understand where we're coming from. That way we know where we're going.
Wow.
Hey, Aurelie.
Yeah.
Aurelie, did you have anything you wanted to? I know she. Well,
Yeah, sure. And it's so good to hear your speeches too. Is it cold in Colorado?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Oh yeah. So I am Aurelie again, in Fort Lauderdale by way of Mexico. I call myself a Mexican Floridian because I went from Mexico to Florida and I haven't lived anywhere else in the United States. And Florida has its uniqueness that has embraced me, and I've embraced it. If anything, I work in public health, as Scott mentioned, but I come from an organizing background here in South Florida, and I feel like for me, the one thing of placemaking, or the element of future building is food. Food has been something that I've always been very interested in. For me, it's also had kind of like, I'm gonna use analogies. I tend to be, because food is my thing and Mother Nature and it's Earth Day. I use a lot of plant and food analogies, and I was gonna say that for me, food is essential in placemaking because it is a grounding element that helps us root to a lot of the other elements that make us whole and make us be holistic in our placemaking, thinking about what makes us entire human beings with the capacities, whether it's access to different opportunities that we all have. We all have the ability to become wonderful people. We just have to have the right tools. And so I feel like starting with food and nurturing that ground that helps us build those strong roots of connection to all of those things, we will be able to see the fruits of that.
Wow.
Powerful. Michael?
Love analogy.
I don't know if Michael is with us or not. His name, there he is.
Yeah, I'm here. I just had it muted. I couldn't get to my phone. All right. Can you see me? I'm back. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I say same, everything everybody said is important to me. If anybody would like me to participate in their thing, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to offer myself in any way I could, whether you're in Colorado or Cairo or anywhere. That actually sounds kind of cool. So I would like to do that. And anyway, the most important thing to me, I'm in South Florida, I'm by way of New York. And so that's kind of the rule. You have to do that. So I'm most concerned, I think right now, as I said before, about the kids finishing the school year, because that's always been like, I feel like I got my son's back, but I feel like maybe we could get some other people's back. My son would be happy to be part of that. And food as well. And then the other thing is, I just have a feeling from the information thing is also, I feel like what I want to say about that is, we were talking about sources of information. So because I'm on Facebook, I've seen that a lot of my friends who don't want to trust like the official sources, they're going to just not do that for the foreseeable future. And then they're going to end up getting close to each other in like a month when they all get bored of this. And I think one of the things is like maybe I think trying to think artistically how to like get across to my family the idea that I think this is probably going to go on a lot longer than anybody estimated, because we just at this point just don't have an answer as far as like who has it and who doesn't. And until we can start answering some of those questions, it really doesn't matter what the news says to you. They're just reporting the hype. And so as long as we're still in that first phase, I guess the thing I'm concerned about, I feel like you guys, this kind of organization we cover, like we're always doing very good essential work saying like young women, girls, they need to be propped up for all the obvious reasons. I'm a little concerned. What do we have now? Also, I just want to thank the young men when their testosterone levels start to surge in a couple months and we want to do something good. They used to sign up for the military and send them off to war or whatever. So we have a rallying cry. We've got a JFK situation here, right? Of ask not what you can do for your country. And I'm just concerned what happens with all that pent up energy of our young men. And if we're constantly saying, only, and I'm not saying like, let's not do the girls stuff. I'm saying 100%, 1,000,000%, like that's long overdue. It should continue to drive the thing. But from that same energy, let's carry the boys along and see what we can do to have them not foster their anger and their negative energies and have them go, because then they'll just go find their friends. We know what they'll do. We know what we do. We go find people who are safe to be with. And if we make them feel safe now, then we can stop, I think, it's the residual, the next waves, the secondary, tertiary, quaternary, whatever it is, effects of this. And I just see like young men who live alone or single, whatever, they feel they don't have an obligation to put on a mask or distance. They just, when you don't have any connection, you're free, you don't want to be told what to do. And it's not just men, women are that way as well. So I just, I think that's it. The two things is getting the kids to finish the school year and sort of mitigating like a violence outbreak or some potential riot like 9-10 months down the line when people are being told that some of them can work and some can't, and you can go home but you can't, and all this inequity stuff's going to really start to hurt in a few months. And if we know it's going to hurt, we're like, maybe we could do something about it in advance. That's what Scott's taught me, so that's what I'm thinking about.
Wow, that's
Great
powerful.
point.
Well, thanks, Michael. I want to take a minute myself and say equity has been at the fore of my thoughts. It wraps around health and sustainability. Ms. Peaches and I co-created the She Lens to try and articulate how intertwined these functions are in keeping our lives together on this planet as humans. If it's not sustainable, if it's not healthy, if it's not equitable, it's not happening. But it happens every day. And so I hope, like Sandra Marie said, Marie A., that we are at a pivot point and maybe we can appreciate and some of our differences instead of arguing over them. And maybe we'll covet our public spaces and the idea of being together more rather than being apart more. And maybe we'll learn to covet the idea of inclusive instead of exclusive. Why is it so cool to be exclusive anyhow?
Because
all our leaders, all our icons, all our rock stars, all our sports stars, all our rap stars, what do they tell us it's important to be? Exclusive. To be, you got to be in the club. You got to get in somewhere nowhere else can. That's what's cool in America. And I hope that we change our values so that while that's one thing that's sort of cool, it's not the coolest thing. A cooler thing would be to like help those kids get through school and make sure they have some healthy food on their plate. That would be, to me, cooler than being a rock star. So I hope we can reshape our values around this pivot point. And I believe that placemaking possesses a set of core values that I believe in wholeheartedly. And Katha, I want to thank you so much. I want to share with you that you kept saying it over and over again. One of the most impactful mentors in my life said to me many years ago, Scott, the most fundamental of all human needs is the need to be heard and to be understood. And you said, I want to listen and understand, and I say they're co-equals. Listening and hearing obviously are, well, like peas and carrots. You know the drill. So thank you, because we do, and that's what placemaking is. It's one of our number one values as placemakers, is to be better listeners.
You're here.
So thank you. And Monica and Jim, I'd love to, you know what, we're coming right up on the 10 o'clock witching hour. This is almost like the perfect landing, you know, where everybody got a nice summary. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Certainly, you know, let's hear from your heart.
I'm Monica, and I'm from Pontiac, and originally from Ferndale, Michigan. And I want to come away from this with kids more active in their world and allowed some freedom. I've been in the field of digital media and learning for about 10 years now. And to put my red hat on, I'm very angry right now at the school system and the just total lack of caring about digital equity for so long. And I'm hoping that this changes that, and that we are able to have kids more active in their places and connected to their world. And I'm just so happy. I'm just overwhelmed with happiness at this group of people that came together and shared these ideas, and I hope that it stays connected.
I'm going to be short. Margaret Mead said a handful of people, and I think we just proved it. And I would hope that we could continue this in some positive fashion and bring about something compelling that shares equally across all stratas, all age groups, all races, all opportunities, all the things that endure and make for creative, engaging, metaphorical successes.
Wow. And you had to bring up Margaret Mead. and so I have to say, as we started with the story of Fred Kent being the organizer of the first Earth Day and the founder of the placemaking movement, before that he was a student of, well, Margaret Mead. So I guess that maybe there's the lesson in a big circle right there. Never doubt that a small group of concerned citizens can't change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. Or
Yeah.
Fred would, and also, as Fred would say, and we talked a lot about this tonight, we're going to get things right side up. We have to turn everything upside down.
Mhm.
Love that.
Awesome.
And things are not right side up. They need to be turned upside down. If we
Mhm.
work together and we empower our communities through these ideas of place, I know it works. I'm looking at people. I'm looking at people right in the eye right now. We've made it work. We've made change,
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
and it's gone from the kitchen table
Mhm.
all the way up to the state legislature
Yes.
Right.
and further sometimes. So it can work. But the thing is, we all want stuff to happen so quick, and these types of changes take time. You have to get old to appreciate them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm just saying from a little personal experience. I think we're getting close. I do want to also one last thing. Monica and Jim, thank you. The Pontiac Colonomy Incubator stepped up. We got introduced by Ryan Smalar, the director of Placemaking US, and he said, you guys ought to talk. Well, Monica and I and Jim, we talk every other day, and they've helped us facilitate the first session. By the way, the first SoFlo session is excerpted. It's all up on YouTube. Thank you, Monica. And I know she picked out some high points from it. So to that ability to share, that was always embedded in the idea that we're doing this. Everything's being saved for posterity. Yeah, Michael will edit out the F word or not. We'll make a decision when we get there. But
I don't care.
we
Whatever.
kept it real.
That's right.
As happened the first time and has happened again, we had a very diverse group, this time from further away than South Florida, and you brought great ideas and inspiration to us. We're not done. We're just going through that exploring, and we'll be reporting back about our SoFlo placemaking declaration. But also, I want you all to know that we're a part of something this week that I've been with folks from 13 other countries who are working on projects for the Placemake Earth Week Challenge. Our work is going to be highlighted nationally and internationally. They've been giving a great ramp up to it. So we'll make sure to share out with you all of the output that happens in the upcoming days. And there'll be more work sessions, which will put you all on our list to include you in. So that's the end of my remarks, except for a big, giant thank you, and I love you all. And,
Love you.
Anybody else wants to say something?
I want to just make sure everyone knows that this mural will continue, and we're exploring these. We're always looking for ways that the system is changing. There are a couple, these 2 grants that we've found, and we're on the hunt for others, but one is a National Science Foundation grant about Civic Innovation Challenge. And the other, Scott found with Robert Wood Johnson Foundation around kind of futuring what food, work, social interaction, and evidence looks like. And if you have any ideas or want to contribute to these, this is the little box up here that will be taking place. Anybody else?
I wanted to thank everybody for taking the time to reflect for a moment and give me some perspective on how each of you thought. I spend most of my life in consensus building, so it was very very generous of you to all participate in that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Marie.
For asking that question at the end and getting everyone's input on that. That was a great exercise. Thank you.
I have something to add, and I hope I'm not the final comment. It's not directly with placemaking, but I feel it's important to state because there's a lot of us who have access to resources and people who are listening to us and vice versa, that with people sheltering home, to be mindful that there are children and adults that are being home stuck in dealing with sexual abuse, child abuse, LGBT kids who, them going to school was, getting away from that. There's domestic violence. So if anybody have any resources to those things, it's really great to share. I've seen some people who put things on Facebook where they're like, if you're subject to domestic violence, put something that you need to order for pizza, and have, different things like that. So because we talked about school and access and all those things, to be mindful that this shelter in place, even though some of us, it's just like, oh, we're taking it easy or whatever we're doing, that it's really dangerous and detrimental for some people. And so if we have any resources to any of that, to make sure that we're getting it out there in any capacity. So.
Great point, Nikki.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Also, this is Kathleen, just as also as a final comment, maybe we have kind of talked about what I thought was a very wide range of topics, and some of them, and really all of them, were very critical. So we didn't get a chance to really share everything that we could have shared, but here in Pontiac, we do have a collaboration called the Pontiac COVID-19 response, and it's a collaboration of about 64 organizations in our city that provide emergency food and different things for the community. And I'm also going to ask Monica to put the links to their website, because they have developed, in conjunction with Oakland University in Rochester, Michigan, they have developed an actual website where people can go and just put their information in very quickly and say, I need help, or they can say, I want to help. And to date, they have over 800 volunteers who are willing to deliver food to people and do various things, tutor kids online, and it's a really neat process. I'm going to ask Monica to put the link for that on there, because some of your communities might want to try to do something like that, to bring the various nonprofits together to work together, because it's really working very well for us. We're able to distribute a lot of emergency food to people who need it, because the agencies have come together instead of everybody working separately. So we're going to put that link out there as well.
Will do. And those will be, any resources for social media is in this little box over here if anybody thinks of any after we leave, but I'll add that.
Okay.
Well, I will just mention, since I was already going to be doing my program online, and I got it up, my son's class has like a Meet the Artists class, and we usually do like a once a month kind of a thing. So I offered to use my space while the teacher was setting up. So this morning they agreed to do that. I'm going to teach some art classes that's at public school here. But I think once I have figured that out with his class, I'd be happy to do that. I've basically just been Facebook streaming live so that if people could find it. I don't have classrooms looking in now, but I'd be happy to do that and do kind of like a tutoring. Has kind of like a Bill Nye or kind of a vibe, or something like Mr. Wizard, but of art, or something, little Bob Ross kind of action, but in my own style. And I'd be willing to just do that as like a show for the next month or two till I figure out how my program is going to work. So like I said, I think there's a lot of anxiety around doing production and stuff. So to leave it on a positive note, if you know of some specific needs, you need a subject or something that a classroom needs tutored, I could figure pretty much anything out. We can do it. So let me know, and I'll put up a free class for the foreseeable future. I like to have it be around arts and sciences is my focus, but for now I don't care. I'll repurpose it. If they can repurpose Pontiac, Michigan to make respirators, then Art Box Club we can teach anything. So I'll be like a tutoring resource in the meantime as I figure it out, if anybody would like that.
Okay.
Thank you. And
All right, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody. Amazing.
That is great.
It is time to say goodnight, and thank you all. We've got to sign off.
Thank
We're
you.
a little bit over time, but stay tuned for the reruns. They'll be up on YouTube.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Understand,
everybody.
everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
Take
Good
care.
morning.
To the sheep.
Thank you.
John, Monica, peace.
Please.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Peace, Rashid.
Peace, peace.
Peace,
Nice to
peace.
meet you, too.
So.
Peace and good night.